Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel and the continuation of our series. And this is about anxiety, and people struggle with anxiety. So, what are some signs of anxiety? That's kind of what we're looking at here. And there are many things that may cause people to be able to see or sense that a friend, partner, family member, someone they love, or even someone in a professional setting is struggling with anxiety. So, repetitive tics is one common way. So, whether that's repeating the same words, a stutter, other body motions, repetitive motion, any sort of repetitive motion can be seen as a tic, and any tic can be a sign of anxiety. There are other causes, but being able to identify if a person's competing or completing repetitive behaviors can be a tremendous sign of having the tick and ultimately having some challenges as it relates to that. The next thing is a person with anxiety often is going to make a lot of lists, and they may even multiply check the list just to see if they're on the right track, just to see if they're in a good space, just to see if they themselves are okay with whatever is going on. The multiple checking of the list and the detail level of the list, they may be very, uncomfortable with the idea that they don't have all the answers. And so the detailed nature of how the list is written, the detailed nature of the number of things on the list, the order of the list, and all points in between can be super, super challenging and somewhat valuable in some cases, but also crippling in others, especially if the list itself becomes an obsession for the individual. This can be and often is problematic for a number of reasons. The next thing to look at is sleep. If a person is oversleeping constantly, that is trying to get an abundance of rest in order to avoid the world around them, there are challenges related to that. And then the other side of it, which is undersleeping, not being able to sleep through the night, not being restful when they sleep because they're always in some level of perpetual and or emotional motion. That becomes a challenge there. Obviously, if you're dealing with any of these issues, please feel free to reach out to me or members of my team at PO Perception on Twitter and or in the About Me section of this YouTube page. Either way, we'll get you in touch with me or members of the team to make something good happen for you. The next is being owned by fear. Whether the fear is rational or whether the fear is repetitive. Repetitive fear is kind of being worried about the same things over and over and over again, and ultimately there's a certain level of challenge there. There's a certain level of negativity there. There's a certain level of um, you know openness to change there, and at the end of the day, there's some challenges that come with that, and always being in motion, be it thinking about the next thing, talking about the next thing, kind of being multiple steps ahead of oneself can be another indicator, and it's super challenging in a number of ways there to begin to kind of move things forward and kind of focus on getting things together. Always being in motion is a sign of nervousness because a person can never feel comfortable enough to rest. Constant apology is another common factor in that. Constant apology obviously is constantly saying they're sorry for things that may or may not be their own fault, but the challenge is as it relates to things coming forward, and the nature of things can be super complicated there when we begin to understand the value of kind of being honest about the fact that not everything is our fault, but also taking responsibility when something is our fault or could have been changed by us is important. Finding the boundary between over and under apologizing can be challenging for many people. The last thing that a person who is dealing with anxiety may be prone to is kind of the forgetfulness. Their mind is moving at such a rapid rate. Their mind is moving so consistently, constantly, and kind of driven wise. There are challenges as it relates to that, and ultimately, things get a little overwhelming. Things get a little driven there, and when that begins to get into a healthy space, we start to remember more, we start to slow the mind down, but the overworking of the mind is another sign of severe anxiety. So hopefully this is helpful. Keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.